One of the tactical political mistakes that President William Ruto did was to oust his former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. On this video, I want to invite you to a discussion on some of the political mistakes that some of our leaders are making without knowing, and sometimes knowing but proving a point. But you remember, it is good to win the war instead of winning the battle. You can lose some of these battles and win the war. And because when you lose the battles and win the war, it is justified. You've heard this phrase saying that the end justifies the means. Are we together? So nobody cares what you got in the mocks and in the first exams. If you fail in the main exam, then you have failed indeed. So, welcome ladies and gentlemen, this is Jenga Njero. Now, on this episode, I want to take you through some of the political mistakes that President William Ruto has committed so far, and he's continuing to commit, because as a leader, you share what we call the burden of incumbency. When people have frustrations, even in their families, they blame it on you. When people have frustrations with their health, they blame it on government. If people are broke, even as an electorate, they blame it on the government. So, what are some of these tactical mistakes that President William Ruto did? They continue to cost him, and they will cost him the presidency, and maybe his administration will go home in 2027. One of these tactical mistakes was to oust his former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, and in place invited and appointed Kindiki professor so that he can replace Gachagua. You see, politics is more of perception than anything else. If you have been seen as a very shrewd, good mobilizer, the people's person, the people's leader, the person who is in charge, the man who has bravado, the man who is in charge, the man who is doing it, the man who can speak on behalf of the people, you carry the day. And none other than Gachagua himself carried the title, the people's, the people's guide, the people's. I hope you are not affected by the rain. I will try to be audible enough. And one of the political mistakes was to oust that man. Remember, before President William Ruto selected Gachagua as deputy president, the people or the circles close to William Ruto had chosen Kindiki. But William Ruto, in his own wisdom, decided that for the sake of the 2022 elections, for the sake of the campaigns, he needed a man who was bold enough, a man who had some financial muscle, a man from the Mount Kenya region, a man that the west of Mount Kenya would recognize and resonate with, a man who would attack President Uhuru Kenyatta that time. Okay? A man who would attack the Kenyattas successfully, a man who would attack them with bravery and win. And that's why he went for Gachagua. Nevertheless, 2 years down the line, the use and dump card was pulled, and allegations were placed. Whether they were right or wrong, that's upon them. But they ousted the deputy president. Now imagine a voter turnout of 47% of the total voters that gave it to William Ruto have rejected William Ruto. They have decided to side with, they have decided to stand with ousted, impeached deputy president Rigathi Gachagua. And then you tell me, any other person who did not vote for President William Ruto, are they going to vote for him in 2027? Look at Luo Nyanza, for instance. The chances of William Ruto being elected in Luo Nyanza heavily lies on his ability to convince other presidents in the African region to vote in for Baba as the AU chair, the African Union chairperson. If Baba does not get that chair, I am telling it in black and white, if Baba does not get that chair, the goose of William Samoei Ruto is cooked. There is no other region. You see, Mutai Ngunyi, the political professor, coined a phrase in 2013, the tyranny of numbers. This is what determines elections in Kenya. The tyranny of numbers. The numbers don't lie. Okay? So, you look at the numbers of Mount Kenya and you ask yourself, unless you have an elaborate plan to win back the presidency, winning the president first term is easier as compared to the second term. Because the second term, you made enemies, both the political elite and the voters. Unless you did so well, one of the people who did not struggle so much, I think one of the magic cards that was pulled in political history was done by President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2017. So many people voted in for the duo, for Ruto. So many people voted for them. So many of them. He maintained his block in 2013, in 2017, he maintained the block. President Kibaki, the late, lost it in 2007. He was voted in 2003, 2002 I mean, but in 2007, so many people had jumped ship. They had decided, no, not Kibaki again, not Kibaki again. Okay, and that's what culminated to the post-election violence. But now, Uhuru Kenyatta did the magic card together with William Ruto. Give it to them. They maintained their region. The people who voted for them remained consistent throughout. Okay, now look at look at President William Ruto right now. His backyard in Rift Valley is distancing himself slowly by slowly. It might not be as ecstatic as Mount Kenya region, but you can tell. I think you were able to see what happened during the... When was that? When the public participation was being held. The discussion was all about whether Rigathi Gachagua should be impeached. And people from the North Rift, the South Rift region, people from the backyard of President William Ruto were saying if they have to go, both of them should go. Nobody was supporting the oust of Deputy President then Rigathi Gachagua. Right now, the Mount Kenya region is gone. Having an idle Gachagua on the outside, not supporting government, is very risky because he's a great mobilizer, and I'm telling you for a fact, he's going to take the 47% or even 40% of the voters that gave it to William Ruto. Now he has 60%. Can he win the presidency? If another candidate, or even if the court rules that Gachagua can vie, you can be sure they will be at par. If Raila does not become the AU chair, things will boil very heavily, very fast for President William Ruto. Because now things will go back to default setting. Because history has proven, Donald Trump has given a lot of people hope, including Raila, that you can win even at old age. So Raila will be coming back and he will vie. And the Kikuyus will not be supporting the president. So I don't know your thoughts. What are some of these tactical mistakes? Look at another tactical mistake. Baba comes out, supports Adani. The next thing, Adani is cancelled by the US. And Adani himself, the Indian billionaire, is being summoned, is being indicted in the US. Imagine you are being indicted for arrest and the US cancels the deal. Then the president, during the parliamentary State of the Nation address, cancels the deal with Adani. Makes everybody who supported Adani look foolish. And people are like, oh no, not again. Okay? You look at the Gen Z, the Finance Bill 2024. After so many people are abducted, after so many young people were killed, then the president comes and withdraws the bills. Something he could have withdrew after listening to the people. And you ask yourself, what is the NIS doing, the National Intelligence Service? So, I do not know whether you agree or not. These are some of the tactical mistakes that the president is doing. Then, overpromising. When you're a leader, don't overpromise. You better underpromise and overdeliver. And this was one of the characteristics of the fourth president of the Republic of Kenya. He was not so good at promising, but when it came to delivery, some of his projects are very tangible. You can see them. You can actually see some of the projects that Uhuru Kenyatta did, and they are very, very, very well accurate and accounted for and documented. So I don't know your thoughts. Maybe you can let us know in the comment section. Until then, this is Jenga Njeru. God bless you. Bye bye.